Nonny is someone who found a practical approach to weight loss and lost 25 kilo.
And is now helping others with simple, sustainable
You can
tips.
still eat Nigerian food or African food and be in a calorie deficit.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
Good to have you here. So before we dive in, I would like us to start like from the beginning. How did you start? Just talk us through your fitness journey. How did it all start?
Okay, I started in 2021. I started trying to lose weight in 2021. I was fat all my life. I was overweight all my life. But I actively started trying to lose weight in 2021. Then I started by going to the gym. I tried so many things, but I was consistent in the gym, basically. I was very consistent in the gym from 2021. I started in November 2021. Then by December 2022, that's a year after, I lost about 10 kg. After everything, I cut out carbs. I did so many different experiments. I lost 10 kg. Then coming 2023, I gained everything back.
Wow.
And I even gained more in 2023. So I just kept going to the gym. But one thing that was consistent for me was going to the gym. I knew that my problem was diet. My problem was my diet. I wasn't eating well. I was just eating processed food, snacks, and all of that. So it was just basically just going to the gym. I was just consistently going to the gym. Then
So from
in
2021 to 2023, you were consistently in the gym.
yes, I was
Get more weight.
consistently. I lost weight the first year, that's
Wow.
2022. I gained it back in 2023.
And more than what you lost.
Yes, I even gained
Wow.
extra. Going to the gym helped me in terms of my strength. I was lifting heavy. Then I was doing squats. Then my PR for squatting was 85 kg. I was lifting very heavy.
Wow.
You know, one of my posts, I said I was a muscle mommy. So I was actually a muscle mommy. I was lifting all the weights in the gym and I was putting on muscle. But that was not my body goal. My body goal for a while has always been just to be slim, slender and lean. But the misconception when you want to lose weight, go to the gym. Everybody's like, go to the gym. So I started with going to the gym. But one thing that about the gym was just me putting on muscle, lifting heavy. I wasn't doing cardio. I wasn't taking cognizance of my diet. So that was just the mistake I was making. Then in 2024, I took a break because I went for my internship in the hospital. So there was no gym around and all of that. So I just took a break from the whole gym stuff. I was doing some home workouts, but I wasn't really consistent. So for the whole of 2024, I wasn't going to the gym. Then by 2025, I went back to the gym, still kept doing what I was doing, just doing everything. Then September 2025 was when I was like, let me just lock in. Because every year, weight loss journey. I was just tired. My New Year resolution every year was to lose weight. Then that 2025, I just focused on walking. What made me choose walking was I came on TikTok. I was seeing so many transformations. People were walking like I didn't even know. I'm someone that I didn't know that you can walk to lose weight. I just thought it was just about all this exercise. Have you seen people's transformations from walking? Then I started to try it out. And I started with about 10K steps. But 10K steps, I still saw people doing 20K, 25K. So I just challenged myself to start doing 25K steps. 20K steps. Then I started with 20K steps and I was doing it. The first month, I lost a lot of weight. And another thing, apart from the 20K steps, I fixed my diet. I started eating a calorie deficit. I was very serious with it. At first, when I started, it was very hard for me to do like the whole calorie deficit, all of that. So I just chose 1 meal a day. I started with 1 meal a day. Then I will just buy everything, I'll eat everything. Just in my head, I'm doing 1 meal, get. But then after a while, I was losing weight. Then after a while, I stopped losing weight. Then it took me, the whole calorie deficit, tracking my calories. When I started tracking my calories, and I found out that I was eating 1 meal was not a guarantee that I was still eating less. Because that time I'll go to the market, I'll go to the restaurant, I'll buy rice, I'll buy beans, I'll buy plantain. That's just my only meal.
So the 1 meal a day was heavier.
My own conception was as long as it's 1 meal, as long as it's 1 meal. But then I'll try to eat everything in that 1 meal. Stay tracking. Then one thing when I noticed that after a while, the first month I lost a lot of weight. Then after a while, I noticed that my weight got stuck. I wasn't losing any more weight anymore. Then what I did, I started tracking my calories. Then I started tracking everything, even down to biscuits. When I buy biscuits, I will check it in my app, how many calories. I was very, very serious with it. Then when I started tracking my calories, and I found out that 1 meal was my problem. I was overeating in the 1 meal because I had lost a lot of weight. So I was still eating like somebody that was 80 kg. That's one of the things I now fixed. Then I fixed the whole calorie deficit. I was still eating 1 meal, still trying to meet up my calories for the day. Then after a while, like after 2 months, I noticed that the one meal was not like it was already too much for me. There was no way for me to eat. I couldn't even eat 1,000 calories in a sitting. Before it was possible to eat everything. But as I lost weight, I found that I wasn't able to eat everything in one meal. Then I cut it down to 2 meals. Then I started doing 2 meals and a snack. And that was just what I focused on. Even till now, I still try to get 2 meals and a snack.
So,
And that,
so after losing the weight, you find it difficult to eat as much as you used to be.
yes, I'll eat something as small as just a plate of food and I'll feel so full. And then I was trying to prioritize protein because I try to get as much protein as I can. I know how protein is. Protein is very filling. So once I just eat a little protein, it could just be like 2 boiled eggs, maybe my Greek yogurt. I notice that I'm full. And those things are not even up to 500 calories.
Oh. I still want us to go back to the root of it all. I mean, to the beginning, to the foundation of your fitness journey. Before the gym days, before you even started going to the gym, what was your lifestyle like then? And why did you choose to go to the gym? Is it basically because of losing weight?
Yes, it was just because I wanted to lose weight. Before I started going to the gym, that was my lifestyle was just normal. I wasn't having any form of workout. There was a time I started trying to run. I was running, but I wasn't consistent in running because one thing I noticed from running was that after running, I feel very hungry, very, very hungry. And I will still go back to there was no point for me, there was no point in running because after running, I will still eat, I even eat more than I eat normally. But then I was still trying to get home workouts in. There was even one time I joined this group. There was this group on my street. They used to do HIIT workouts and high intensity workouts. I would join them. I would do all those things. And then when I go home, I will still eat. My problem basically has just been my diet. I'm someone that I like to eat. As in, I used to overeat. Now that I'm very conscious of it, I've recognized the fact that those days I was big. It was because of what I was putting in my mouth. And that's just what it does. So my lifestyle was not really, I wasn't really getting any exercise in because then I was a student. I was very busy with school and just trying to survive university life. So I didn't have any form of fitness. But when I started going to the gym, I was still a student going to the gym. But I started going to the gym to lose weight. That was why I started going to the gym, not even to gain strength. And just gaining strength was extra. But my main purpose of going to the gym was just to lose weight.
To lose weight.
Yeah, that was why I gained the weight back. Because most of the things I did in that first year of going to the gym, they're not sustainable in any way. And I also think it's because of the first, I was lifting weight. Weightlifting also helps you lose weight. So the first effect of weightlifting helped too with my diet. But after a while, I wasn't losing weight again. I was just putting on muscle.
Now let's talk about how you were able to lose the 25 kg and keep it off. Before you lost 10 kg and you gained the weight back even more than what you lost. But now that you've been able to lose 25 kg and keep it off, how are you been able to sustain that? What are the things you're doing now that helps you to manage and sustain it?
Okay. So the period I lost weight, what I was focused on was the habits I was doing, like my walking, my diet, and then going to bed on time, drinking water. So I have been able to sustain it has just been doing those things I've been doing before. I didn't stop anything I was doing to lose weight. Even when I hit my goal weight, I kept doing those things I was doing, like my steps. I still walk every day. I find a way to walk every day. Even when I'm going to the market, I walk. I just find a way to get my steps in every day. Any opportunity to walk, I do it. Then my diet is still the same. I'm still trying to eat very healthy and reduce snacking, all this processed food. I try to include it in my diet, but at the same time, I don't go too much. I don't go overboard. So it's just basically doing the same things I've been doing to lose weight. That's what I'm still doing now to maintain the weight. Then I'm still going to bed on time. I'm still drinking water. Just basically it.
When you started, did you have any plan or you were just doing things randomly? Or did you have any plan you follow or you were just doing it randomly?
I was not doing it randomly. I was focused on my steps. When I start, when I
Yeah.
locked.
So all on the steps, the sleep, the habits, did you have a plan, a routine that you follow day in, day out? Or you just think, oh, this is what I want to do today when you wake up and you go with it? Or you have maybe a meal plan, then walking plan, how you want to live your life every day. Do you have a plan for that? Did
Yes,
you?
I had a routine. I
Okay.
always wake up at around then I was waking up around 5, 6 in the morning to get my morning walks. I work in the morning and in the evening. So my days always starts with my walking. And then the meal plan, I had a meal plan. I designed a meal plan for myself. Even when I was doing one meal, and then when I was doing one meal, I didn't have a meal plan. I was just eating anything as long as I ate just one meal. But then when I now switched to 2 meals, eating in a calorie deficit, that was when I now got a meal plan. And the meal plan was just for me to get enough protein, enough carbs, just to have a balanced meal. I had a meal plan. And then my walking was just my exercise plan. I was getting my steps in the morning and in the evening, very compulsory. So that was just my plan. And then I was trying to get at least 8 hours of sleep every night. And then also drinking water too. That was part of my plan, then my routine.
You've talked about walking a lot. I think that is apart from the nutrition part, I think that is one of the major things that brought these results. So how many steps a day do you do
Is it now or then?
then and now?
Okay. When I started in September. I started with 20K steps. Then in October, I just decided to challenge myself. I saw this challenge online of walking 30,000. Then I challenged myself to start walking 30,000 in October.
A
Then I
day.
did 30, yes.
Wow.
Yes, I did 30,000 in October. Some days I was doing up to because I tried to get 30,000, and then some days I still have like extra errands I have to run. There's some days I was doing 35, 37. It was just a way for me to challenge myself. It was very tiring, but it was like a challenge. And then I completed it after doing the whole October 30,000. I then went back to my 20,000. Until now, I still do 20,000 every day. Still try to get at least 20,000 every day.
Doing 20,000 every day, does that not feel a lot? And you feel it's healthy to walk 20,000 every day, apart from some extra daily activities you'll be doing?
But it's not, I've just found a way to make it work for me. I
Mm.
do it in the morning. I break it down. I do 10K in the morning.
Okay.
Once I wake up, I do 10K. Some days I do it outdoors. Some days I use my treadmill. And then also in the evening, I go for my steps in the evening. I've just found a way to fit it around my day. So it has been working for me. And that's what I've been doing so far.
Perfect. And if you have to give someone 30 practical tips for weight loss that's going to give a good result, what would that be?
Okay, first, there are just two things for you to focus on: your diet and your movement. So for the movement part, if you can get at least 10K steps every day, and then for your diet, so try to eat in a calorie deficit. That's just basically it. And then calorie deficit, when you are trying to eat in a calorie deficit, try to prioritize healthy meals and then reduce snacking to at least 10%. That's just the best practical tip I can give to
When
anybody.
when you're talking about snacking, can I still snack on biscuits, snack on bread, all these sugary things, soda? Can I do all those things if I want to lose weight?
I don't take soda. For me, I don't take soda. But you
Mhm.
can still snack on those biscuits. For me, what I focus on is once it doesn't exceed your calories for the day,
Mhm.
one, and then once it doesn't make you overeat. For me, I notice that whenever I eat snacks when I'm hungry, I don't eat snack when I'm hungry. When I snack when I'm hungry, the chances of me overeating is very high. I've noticed that thing. It just makes it worse. If I feel hungry, I try to eat food first. Then me snacking is just a way to create balance. Because in the past, one thing I've noticed in the past is that whenever I tell myself I cannot eat biscuit, I cannot eat all these things,
Mhm.
that's the only thing my brain will be thinking about. So me adding it into my diet was just a way for me to create balance and to not restrict myself so much. Some days I don't eat it, but it's just in my diet for the days where I just feel like, and I don't eat it when I'm hungry.
So
I
when
restrict
you eat it, you don't have to feel bad that you won't eat, basically.
exactly. Exactly. That's why I add it. Because when I tell myself I cannot have it, I cannot eat it, it's that time that I will want to eat it. Adding it to my diet is just a way to calm my body that we can eat it anytime. So we don't need to really, really think about it.
You went from an 80 kg to 55 kg, am I right?
Yes.
So again, the major reason was it for the look, like you have a body type you were looking up to, or was there any health related reason?
For the looks and the health too. The health part was my BMI. I was tending to overweight. My BMI was 24.6.
Okay.
Sorry, 29.6. I was overweight. And if I had kept going the route I was taking, then by now I'll be obese.
Mm.
So one of the big reasons was my health and also my looks too.
If health is the case, is it still advisable for people eating things like junks? If I want to lose weight, should I focus on just losing the weight, or I think about the healthy parts? If I eat some sugary things, what is the effect apart from gaining weight?
Okay, apart from gaining weight,
Mm.
um, sugary things is just, sugar spikes your blood sugar, obviously. And
Mhm.
it's hard for you to apart the healthy part of sugary things, spiking your blood sugar, diabetes, we know
Mm.
that one. So
Right.
that's why sugar is not really good for you. And there's also this puffy face you get from eating so much sugar, the sugar rush, diarrhea, and it's not advisable to eat so much sugar. And then we also come down to the calories too. You tend to eat, it's very hard for you to eat biscuits. enough biscuit to be satisfied. Biscuit doesn't fill you up. So for you to eat biscuit and feel satisfied, you notice that you eat so much biscuit, and then you're just piling up and piling up on sugar and calories, and before you know it, you've eaten 2,000 calories, and that's not even your food.
Yeah.
Then when you now come down to your food, everything just adds up, and then at the end of the day, you find out that you're overeating.
You mentioned going to the gym and then lifting weight and all that. Do you still go to the gym?
I don't go to the gym anymore. I just do my walking. And then recently, after I lost weight this year, I added a form of home workouts. Just a little bit of strength training at home. I don't go to the gym.
Basically, anyone out there can lose weight without going to the gym, without stepping your feet into the gym. You can lose weight.
Exactly. Most of the people I work with,
Mhm.
most of the people I work with, my clients, they don't go to the gym. We just focus on them getting their steps every day.
If someone just want to start, like going on the journey of losing weight, and you just want to start, what is the advice you're going to give to the person?
The advice I'll give to the person is that the person should just know that it's going to take a lot. It's going to take time. That's
Mhm.
the first thing you should know is that it's going to take time.
But your major transformation was in 3 months, if I'm right.
Yes, but 3 months, you'll be surprised that a lot of people see 3 months as being too much. I have people coming to my DM that they've been locked in for 1 week and it's so hard that what would they do? So many people can't even go more than 2 weeks or even 1 month. And for me, my major transformation was 3 months, but
Mm.
it's still going on till now. Because if I don't go back to my former lifestyle habits, I
Mm.
don't go back to what I was doing before because I have the consciousness that if I go back to what I was doing before,
Okay.
obviously I'll gain the weight back.
So if you have to give any beginner an advice, what you will say to them is they should know it takes time. So
It
they are
takes time
ready for
and
the long time run.
exactly. And it's a lifestyle. It's a forever something. For me, I don't even see
Mm.
right now, I'm not on a weight loss journey. I'm just on a wellness journey.
Was there any difficult time during this period, and what kept you consistent then?
There were a lot of very difficult times, a lot. But one thing that kept me consistent was just the fact that I just knew that at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it.
Okay.
I just knew that at the end of the day, it was going to be worth it. And I was just motivated. I was just disciplined. I knew what I wanted to look like. I knew what I wanted from the journey. So on the days when it was very hard, I just kept thinking of after. And one thing that kept me consistent is just thinking about how the time will still pass. Some days you're like, it's taking so long, 3 months, 4 months. I just realized that the time will still pass. 3 months from now will still come and go and nothing will happen.
Mm.
So it's just good for you to I just told myself, just good for me to still be locked in because whether I work out, whether I do anything, the time will come and go and I won't be happy if the time
Mm.
goes and I'm still the way I was.
What is the major challenge or challenges do you think people have during their weight loss journey, or major mistakes people make during their weight loss journey?
The major thing people have problem with, I've noticed, is consistency. People
Okay.
find it very hard to be consistent. Even when it comes to things like tracking your meals, working
Right.
out, many people struggle with consistency. And does that lack of motivation, you're trying to change and something you are used to, your body will obviously
Mhm.
fight on it. So trying to change is very hard. So that consistency is one of the things people find it very difficult. And then another thing I've noticed in terms of mistake is that we tend to underestimate how much food we eat. I've noticed that from conversations with people. We tend to underestimate how much food we eat. And I keep shouting on my TikTok page, track your calories, because you will not believe how much you are eating if you don't
How,
track.
how do we track calories? Is there any app for that? How can I track my calories?
Okay, the first thing you need a food scale and you need some measuring cups. And then there's an app. There are calorie counting apps. The one I use Fat Secret.
So there's no
But
manual way to do it without maybe app or the scale.
no, there's no manual way to do it. But you use the food scale to weigh your food and then the measuring cups to measure your food. Then you can use ChatGPT. Sometimes I use ChatGPT. I also
Okay.
use Google. If I'm having something like bread, I say, Google, how many calories is in 4 slices of bread? So you
Okay.
can also use Google.
For your calorie deficit, you target to burn how many calories a day and consume how many calories a day.
How I know the calories to consume every day, I use TDEE calculator.
Mhm.
That TDE calculator calculates how many calories my body burns every day. So
Okay.
for me to be in a deficit, I have to minus some calories from those calories my body burns every day to be in a deficit. So for now, I'm no longer really actively in a deficit. So right
Mhm.
now, I'm maintaining my weight. So my deficit is just 200, 300, but it's not consistent every day. Now I'm eating at maintenance calories to maintain
Okay.
my weight. I'm not trying to lose weight anymore.
And one of the questions I get a lot, and I think someone from my community asked this question: how can I spot reduce belly fat? Is that possible?
It's not possible. It's not possible to reduce fat in any part of your body. it's not you that makes the decision, it's your body. You
Okay.
can't give your body instruction to burn fat from here or there. Your body decides how to burn fat. And there's so many things that determines it. Your age, your genetics. For me, I hold weight more in my arm. I noticed that was the last part of my body that came down. My belly fat reduced very easily, but my arm was very hard. So I had to keep going to reduce the fat in my arm. So you can't really tell your body what to do.
And thank you, Nonny. Let's play a quick game, a very quick one. So
Yeah.
I'm going to mention some things and you will tell me if it's important, not important, or very important for weight loss. First one is cutting out sugar.
It's not important. Important, but it's not too important.
Okay. So you're saying important, but not too important, right? Exercising.
Exercising helps, but it's not that important. Everything is your diet. For me, basically, is your diet.
1 meal a day.
1 meal a day is your choice.
Okay. 10K steps daily.
Important. It helps.
Your nutrition.
Nutrition is everything in the whole weight loss. You can do 20K steps, and if you're eating anyhow, you won't lose weight. So nutrition is very important.
All right, Nonny. Thank you so much. Thank you for welcoming this invitation. Good to have you here.